कि जिंग फुल टिप शपी हलोर की फांग बफेर की बे दे बात का कोट का क्या
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to another episode of Health Essentials. This is a program that has been brought to you by DDK Meghalaya. And as a frequent viewer, you would know that this is a platform where we discuss various issues related to the state. And well, this evening, let's not keep our viewers waiting. This evening, I have with me, I have Mr. Neil Umwi, and I have Mr. Barry Kharmalki with me. And we are here on behalf of the Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan. Lani nakatin kasi kabiki ang kari kabalat na ka Jingbuaid. And this is a campaign, this is a central campaign that has been pushed through the entire country. And well, in the state, of course, we have the Department of Social Welfare, Government of Meghalaya, that has sponsored this program and that has helped us and helped a lot of people along throughout the course of this campaign. But before we get any deeper, or before we go in any deeper into the subject matter, we will take a very short break. Here are a few commercials for you.
Failures. What we do not understand during childhood, get entangled with. It seems what is happening today will be the story for the whole life. To forget the taunts of peers, they are often ready to choose the wrong path. But those who face them with courage without succumbing to failures are the real winners in their life ahead. We are proud of such courageous children and teachers. Let's create a new India, a drug-free India.
What happened, Vinal? You are not working today.
Hey, I want to say something. Last night I was looking for something in Rohan's cupboard and I found a packet that I never expected. I used to think that Rohan likes to be alone, but I did not know that Rohan has been taking drugs for the last few months.
Are you sure?
If I wanted, I would not even tell you about this. But if my friends won't help me, how will I save my Rohan from this deadly addiction? Guys, I need all your help to save my son's life.
If we fight this war against drugs together, we will definitely win.
It's good that you told us. We are with you. A friend of mine is a doctor in the de-addiction center. I will talk to him.
Let's create a new India, a drug-free India.
To uphold the honor of this gang, you will have to take at least one puff of this. I bet for 100 rupees. He is a chicken. You prove them that you are a tiger. Tiger.
Brother, you should bet for 500. This crybaby can't do anything.
In childhood, we often fall prey to just one puff in the pretext of friendship and are unable to understand that the first puff of drug can trap us forever. So be courageous and stay away from the misery of the first puff.
Who said I want to be like you?
Let's create a new India, a drug-free India. Avinash, the food has been served. We must definitely eat one meal a day with our family. How was your tuition?
It's fine.
You have been missing from tuition for 3 days every week. Where do you go? What do you do? We don't even know. Many times when we eat together, we understand each other's problems better. Avinash, I hope you haven't got into something wrong.
So what do I do? How many times I have told you that I want to become a dancer? Dad, I want to learn dancing.
Maybe someone substitutes the solution to their problem with drugs. We can stop that. Let's create a new India, a drug-free India. Every work in the name of the nation. For more information, call on the toll-free number.
Welcome back, viewers. Just to remind you once again, we are on Health Essentials, and well, this particular evening we are talking about the campaign, the central campaign, the Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan, and in the state it has been pushed and has been sponsored by the Department of Social Welfare, Government of Meghalaya. And well, let's dive right into the subject matter. With me, I have two guests, like I had told you guys earlier, and I'm going to start off with my first guest to my extreme left, Neil Umbi. Hi, Neil.
Hi, Andrew.
Hi. How's everything?
All good, all good.
Okay, just to let you guys know a little bit, Neil is a singer-songwriter. He did his studies outside for a little while, and he's back now in town writing songs and writing meaningful songs, of which we will have a hint of later on in this program. But Neil, to you, singer-songwriter, is this your full-time profession?
Currently, I'm a singer-songwriter, a music artist, a music producer, and also a music teacher. I teach
lovely.
other people as well.
Okay, how did this journey start for you?
Music has been there in the family, has been running in the family for quite a long time now. So I think that's how it all started.
Okay, and the course abroad that you did, how long were you there for?
I was there for about 9 to 10 months.
Okay.
And I was doing my production and sound engineering course there.
Okay. Did the COVID situation somehow had an effect on your studies there? Did you complete your studies, or did you have to come back?
COVID came about 2 months before I finished my course, so I had to do about a few weeks back home, online classes, yeah.
Okay, and well, I'm glad he was back here, because when we started off the campaign, we did a little, we organized a singing competition where we had encouraged our young talents to come up with a song on drug addiction, which apparently Neil won. And well, more on that story a little later, because I've just left my other guest hanging, and he is none other than Barry Leslie Khar Malki. Hello, Barry. Since he's close to me, I'm allowed to shake his hands. And okay, Barry. Please tell me, what do you do right now, currently?
Right now, I'm the board member for the Meghalaya State Network of Positive People. We are an organization working for the welfare and uplifting the quality of life for people living with HIV in the state. And also at the same time, I'm the General Secretary of Meghalaya User Forum, whereby we made our voice heard through different kinds of programs, such as advocacy, sensitization program, and lobbying with different stakeholders.
Okay, a lot of things that Barry has mentioned just now, which we will dig into. We will get into the depths of it since we have the time, and this is information that is crucial. I would suggest our listeners, our viewers out there rather, who are watching us right now, if you have a problem with addiction, this is the program to be watching right now. All right, so you're on the right channel. Do not switch to a different channel right now. Pushing back to Barry. Barry, let's start with some history. Let's start with how addiction happened for you. How young were you when you first got involved?
I came from a middle class family, sort of, and to avoid all the drama and the chaos at home, my mom sort of sent me to a boarding school. She always thought the best of us, and she's still my biggest supporter till day. But like I said, life has other plan. With all the insecurity coming from a village, with all the insecurity of not belonging to certain crowd or to certain people and not having enough friends, there are a lot of inferiority complex that has started cropping up in me, and the need to be with them, to want to be like them, and to be in that group, sort of take me on a different route when it comes to my addiction. Because had I learned to deal with my insecurities and inferiorities at that time, I don't think I'll have much of a problem. But then sort of like I would say peer influence and peer pressure sort of took me to a different direction with
Barry, I'll just stop you there. When you say peer influence and peer pressure, at what age were you going through when all of this happened?
probably by class 4, class 5.
You were in class 4.
Yeah, and class 4, class 5, and I would like to hang out with guys who are 3-4 years senior than me. I never would like to hang out with the guys of my age.
Class 4, class 5 mo kata jong pikat no try ka to por kat no epindon.
Maybe around 10 or 11, 12 maybe.
At the age of 11, 12, you had a taste of what drug addiction is like.
Class 4, I start drinking alcohol, abusing weed and stuff with my friends. And on class 4, I was caught drinking and I got good thrashing. So class 5, some of my friends told me, let's do it again. I was scared. I still remember the thrashing. I told my friends that I think this time I will not do anything because of the smell the teacher will certainly catch us. But class 5, sort of somebody introduced a pill. I didn't know what the pill was at that time. I took it. The experience was not very good. In fact, I could still remember that the experience was very unpleasant. But like I said, peer influence, pressure, and the need, the feeling of boarding school. Yeah.
Okay.
And the sense like I want to be like those guys. So so I went along. Okay? And by class 7, I had I didn't literally do it, but some of my friends they inject the drugs for me. I wish I could have said no at the time, but I didn't, because I know if I said no, then I'll lose all those friends. So I went with the flow, like they said. I went with the flow then, but till that time also I could not realize how far my drug addiction will take me. That step will take me.
I'll again break you there. You said you started off with alcohol.
Yes.
But then alcohol was never a problem for you.
No, not really.
The only problem was because pitting
Yeah.
So you never was an alcoholic.
Later stage in my life, I abused almost everything.
and he's saying it with a smile. He has a smile on his face when he says that. So okay. At the age of 11, 12, when you're in class 5, you had your first days. In class 7,
There were class 9, class 10 boys.
Class 9, class 10 boys. What kind of a multitude of boys are we talking about? Group?
Around 10, 12.
And did you think about the consequences of what would happen? You were only focused on being part of the group.
Yeah, I was focused on being part of the group. I was a shy individual, sort of a shy kid. So I thought by doing all those sort of things, I'll get that kind of recognition and the sense of wanting to be popular at the same time in a boarding school. Also, that started growing in me. But and I even thought that I even had plans. We all have plans. I thought I'll go along maybe by next year or the year after that. I'll just quit. But that never happened. I would not say I have become a full-blown addict in high school, but by class 11, class 12, I think 10 to 12 was the worst years of my life, whereby I couldn't live without injecting drugs in my system anymore. Yeah.
So when you say you were not a full-blown addict, how regular was you?
Maybe once in 3 months, once in 2 months, sort of the thing.
So
it depends also on the availability of cash and the availability of the drugs that we're taking.
So you obviously, I think you guys had to pay for it at that point.
Yeah, you had to.
So that's why the necessity of having a big group.
Yeah.
So then, when did you realize? You realized that you were a full-blown addict and that you needed help?
Class 12. But still, then the addict in me did not, the ego that I had did not want me to seek help. I thought that after I passed my class 12, I thought when I go for my bachelor's, then I'll start to quit. But then I tried. I've tried almost every ways to quit my drug use. In fact, I've changed my location where I stay. I've tried to avoid people, places and things. But I don't know, I just couldn't stop.
Tambah kata ka Jingbuaid na piba pin sangai kala dong.
Yeah, there was the will was always there to stop, but the power to stop I don't
The
have.
willpower
You know,
was not
people always look at an addict or an alcoholic. They would say, "Oh, he doesn't have willpower to stop." Bamdan kamon, bamdan kamen sim ngadon nang ba kabor ngamdan.
Mla. Kabor berkat kaduna.
Yeah.
Mla. So, okay, so that was in class 12.
Yeah.
As you moved on with your addiction, after class 12, what happened? Were you still stuck with addiction, or did you go to rehab, or did you seek out help?
After
What
class
happened?
12, things had probably got worse because as a college student, I had more liberty to go out. I had the liberty to to manipulate my mom into buy tuitions and all this stuff. So I was getting a little bit more money, but I end up wasting them on drugs. People you usually complete their bachelor's in 3 years. I did it in 10 years.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah,
That's okay. That's
yeah.
no, as long as
So,
you did it,
yeah.
it's okay.
2001 was the first I've heard of rehab. I don't know how I really don't know how they treat people. I thought because at those time, during my time, in fact,
2001 would be late.
2001 time, 2001, yes. Because during our time, anybody who goes to a rehab means there is something mentally wrong with him. Ula bait. People now starting to realize that addiction is a disease and stuff. But that time, when people start going to pindalit chasan care kibriu ula bait.
Exactly.
So during that time also, the whole family had apprehensions of telling my cousins, my everything, that I start going to a rehab because people will start thinking that I've gone mad. But actually 2001 I went. I got off for 3 months the first time, but then within 2 years I relapsed.
Okay.
Then
this was when this had come to a period when you've realized, okay, now I need help. Let me try and fix myself.
Yeah.
And lapoy hapo rehab. First time in rehab, and then you've come out and okay, pila relapse. Now there's still a period of time happening, which I still want to get into, Mom. See, because the way I see it, and especially for our viewers right now, drug addiction is something that does not affect just the user himself. It involves the entire family.
Yeah, sure.
The entire family gets affected. Everybody gets into a turmoil. Lada, if you have a son, you have a brother, you have a sister who's an addict, you can imagine how difficult life can be for everybody, not just for the user. And also, this is also where we want to sensitize our viewers. But addicts do want to change. Addicts don't. Once you get into this addiction, it doesn't mean that you get stuck there. Like Barry, he wanted to change very much, but he couldn't. So Barry, give me an insight of what happened to your family. What was happening in your family? Did you obviously by the time you went to rehab, Tangba, that phase when they found out, how did that happen?
My mom comes from a very conservative family. She doesn't know things about drugs and stuff. That day she knew my grandma knew everything about the things I used to take because she have caught me more than numerous times that I've been doing drugs at home. But my mom's
you must have been close to your grandmother.
Very close to my grandmom, yeah. Okay. Mom was the food provider. She was the pillar of the house, so she had to go to work, and also she doesn't know what goes around in the house much. It was in 2001 only that when we were sitting in front of a counselor and he was asking stuff, what are the stuff you take, because we have to give our history to the counselor and to the treatment center, so that they can provide the best treatment for us. It was during that that time that I start disclosing the stuff, and I take. My mom almost fainted in there because she
the first time.
yeah, the first time, because she only thought that this boy is into alcohol, nanong kondong obviously kimpat banai drugs, and during those time I can still count how many drug addicts were in Shillong. So drug addiction was a very rare thing. So my mom was taken by surprise, lalong shock. Yeah.
How did she react to you then?
Yeah, she was very supportive, but if not because of her, I would not be here.
Okay.
During these crucial, there are many crucial times in my life where my mom had, if my mom had not been there, I don't think I would be the man I am today. In fact, she said that you have come to a treatment center. You know now that you're a sick person. They'll provide you the tools on how to deal with your addiction. So now it takes, like you said, that you have the will but no power. So let them give you with power and you have the will, you try to combine these two and let's see if you can get out. And my mom also knows that going into a rehab center is no magic. It takes time for an addict to become an addict. So it takes time also for a person to recover. So my mom was...
I want to stop you there because people that for our listeners, like it takes time for a person to become an addict. So if it takes that amount of time, it also takes that amount of time for that addict to recover, to come out. So which means patience, support and love from, from the family, from your support group is very important. Yeah? And
then sort of she realized that dealing with addiction is also a relapsing order, that she knows that I will relapse someday, and I'm not very strong yet. So, but all through my relapse, my mom has been with me. Like I said, family support is the most important support that you could get when it comes to psychosocial support. So, I've been to rehab 4 times, and she has supported me all through these 4 times. And finally, I used to joke to people, I think she prayed too much to God that maybe God realized that, oh, we are tired of this woman praying, let's change him and all. So finally, after the 4th time, we have this phrase we call one day at a time. 2007, March 26 was the last time I entered a rehabilitation center. And from that point on, taking one day at a time, I'm clean now for 14 years.
Wow, congratulations, man. That's an amazing feat. It is not easy. It is not easy to stay away from. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people out there who watch it right now, these guys must be, we are all hooked to our own addictions. We all have our own addictions. We know how difficult it is to come out of one. I recently quit smoking. And trust me, just giving up cigarettes alone has been such a very difficult task. So your feat is really amazing. I congratulate you on that, and I pray to God that He gives you the strength to follow this path. Yeah. Okay. Then again, now when you say support system, family, you have siblings.
Yeah, siblings.
What was the PPD bakat no here?
The second.
The relationship here. I'm sure your brothers must have fought, sisters must have fought.
The change in me and my we 4 brothers and sister. The eldest one and the youngest one died in a car accident in 2006. So that was so
sorry.
That was the time in my life when me and my brother was an alcoholic. The brother next to me was an alcoholic and I was an addict. 2006 August 3, my eldest sister and the youngest brother died, and they were good people, sort of. They don't really have any kind of addiction problem and stuff. So I could
they
remember
were together when
they died at the same day and same spot.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but in fact, God had I think God had His plans for me and my brother, because during the funeral we could hear a lot of people say that God took away the angels, left the devils. Sort of those things. I remember running up to the terrace. I stay in the highway, so there are a lot of trucks with funny writings. But what happened that day is I didn't see any funny writings. I just saw a truck with the writings. God have time to pray, or God have time to listen. Do you have time to pray? And I cried there all alone. I was feeling embarrassed. Guilt, shame start hitting me. I also, started shouting at God, why did you take them? You should have taken me instead, But then me and my brother realized that we need to start making changes in our life, if not for us, but for our mom. So we went into a rehab, but we realized that the first thing we need to do is change for ourselves.
So this happened. Okay, so your brother is younger to you.
Yeah.
And this was when the both of you realized that
we really need to take this issue seriously.
This would have been at what time in your life, Barry? Were you already in rehab? Had you come out of rehab?
Yeah, this was the 4th time that I'm going to, that we plan to go into a rehab.
This was the fourth time, and that was when the changeover happened.
Yeah.
God definitely has plans for you, my friend. He definitely has plans for you. And with regards to your brother, how's your brother doing?
Yeah,
right
my
now?
brother also is clean and sober now.
Wow, wow, that's an amazing story, bro. That's really, and I'm sure mom must be very proud of the
Yeah,
both of
she
you.
is. She
Yeah,
is.
yeah. And what a strong woman she is to have gone through what she has gone through. I'm very sure, guys. It's if you can picture what Barry has just told us, very very difficult to, as a parent myself, very difficult to see our children go through things like that. But she again was the rock, I think, the
Yeah.
pillar of strength,
Yeah.
right? Without your mom, I think it would have
Yeah.
been very difficult for you to.
I would always tell I used to call my other friends who are still into drugs, I would call them my chemical brothers. I would tell them, if you have my mom, you know, anybody would change. Parents now are sort of indirectly the enabler when it comes to drug addiction. I've been in this field for 13 years now. I've seen that to some extent the family is the enabler, not the people who support him get out of addiction, but they are enabling him to, you know, to get his ways and to go back to addiction. You know, our time, when you look at an addict, you will realize he's an addict because we don't have any clothes to wear, we don't have any branded t-shirts. But when you look at now, you know, the trend has changed.
Okay.
You know, parent in the run to, you know, make their children happy, they're giving them almost everything. But in the run of pleasing their children, they're also, you know, negatively, indirectly also harming them.
Okay, so another very important aspect is parenting.
Yeah, parenting.
What would you say to the parents out there who are watching us right now? Like, you see, in today's day and age, you also have to understand, Barry.
Yeah.
You know, it's a world full of demands.
Yeah.
It's a world where we try to give the best to our loved ones. There is balancing work, balancing income, and raising your kids. What would you have to say to the parents who are watching us right now?
First thing, to all the parents, I think I would like to say that if you start knowing your problems from somebody else, from the neighbors, I think that is the first sign to the parents that you're not a good parent. You know, if you start knowing that your child is drinking, your child is smoking weed, your child is doing drugs, I think as a parent that is the first sign that, you know, you fail as a parent. You know, you must have time for your children. You must have time. And
Are you a parent yourself?
yeah, I have a 10-year-old son.
No wonder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give yourself time to be with your children, and you know, I always believe in tough love.
Yeah.
You know, not the kind of love when you start seeing your children crying and then you start giving them everything. My mom was not like that. My mom was a tough lady. My mom was like, you either quit,
Yeah.
or you go and live in the streets.
Ka generation jungi menshua
Yeah.
ngatharai mo
Yeah.
with our parents. I think me and you were of more or less the same age. Our parents grew up in a very tough generation. You know, nothing came easy for them, and I think that is why that bled on through to us also. Ngir ilong ta. And rementa ngapet haka ni kajuk jungi menta pre my generation, even me myself also again. Sometimes we do anything for our children. Anything. To a point where we indirectly we know we're spoiling them. The menta when it comes to drug addiction, this becomes a major issue. So this is where you're saying that tough love is required.
I think when they start seeing their child is having through some problem, I think the worst thing that our Khasi parents have is that instead of talking to them, trying to find the solution, you know, they start looking at him with, you know, that like him getting into addiction is his moral fault. You know, you start condemning him and stuff, and you start making him feel that he's no good and all. But there are certain ways to show that you love your children, but there are certain things also to know that whether what you're doing is trying to bring your children back to their normal self, or whether you're indirectly enabling them. You know, there's a thin line between love and spoiling your children.
You're right. When you say enabling them, Barry, now again I'm a little confused. Enabling them, you mean too much love and over pampering and all that is dangerous? Yeah.
Over pampering.
Okay, and because it sounds scary because you had your first taste of alcohol when you were in class 4.
Yeah.
And then you got hooked in class by class 7. You had
Not really hooked by
not
class
hooked,
7,
you had a
but by
taste.
class 9, class 10 I was OD.
Goodness gracious me. Okay, so that is where I think the society as a whole needs to realize that raising your kids goes back way back to the grassroots levels, and you can't just take it for granted and leave your kids at the hands of a caretaker or somebody. That being said, okay, Barry, we have so many things that we want to talk to, but I'll just break the talk. I'll just shift the talk a little bit. Let's ease down the intensity of the discussion a little bit, and we go back to Neil. Okay, Neil, on the other hand, comes from a background where he's completely nurtured, he's completely well protected of. Would you agree with me when I say that?
That's true, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. So when it comes to your singing, when it comes to your passion that you're following, did you have a background, did you have somebody at home that encouraged you?
Yeah, my dad is the one who,
Okay.
I think if it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't be a guitar player.
Okay.
And my dad was the one who sent me to piano class, to piano lessons and all that,
Okay.
just to take my head off studies and all that.
Okay.
So it's more like a breather for the weekend.
You must have been a good student all your life.
I would say an okay student.
Being modest.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. And
So yeah.
And then?
So I started doing music since I was very young. So I used to sing in church choirs, in Sunday school and all that.
Oh.
And I grew up falling in love with music and started writing my own songs. And my uncles, the Straight Brothers, they inspired me to be a country musician.
Okay.
And I got a lot of inspiration, motivation from them as well. And that's how I
Okay.
got into music
Okay.
right now.
So see, basically that is why we have two gentlemen here in the studio today with very contrasting backgrounds. But of course, I'll let you know how the story gets to Neil as well, because after this break, we're going to take a little short break, but after the break, Neil is going to be performing one of his songs that he wrote on addiction. And it's a beautiful song that hit us so hard, that hit me personally so hard when I heard it the first time. But before we get to that, you guys have to be patient. We're taking a short commercial break. We'll be right back.
Didn't I tell you? It is not in our luck to be a cricketer. But you still went for the selection. Hey, listen to me. Take one puff and you will forget everything about this rejection.
You will feel that the entire stadium is cheering your name.
Hey, nothing happens by taking it once. And you are a player. Why are you getting scared? Take this.
Many youngsters make the mistake of taking drugs to fight small setbacks and often deviate from their goals in the confusion of intoxication.
Who told you that I want to forget this failure? I'm a player. And I know how to convert my defeat into victory with my hard work.
Defeat drugs with your willpower. Let's create a new India, a drug-free India.
Suraj,
Yeah, tell me.
I saw your son with some boys yesterday. Those boys are not good. He might get caught into drugs.
Don't you think that you are bad naming my son?
Quite often, our own are forgotten in this race of life. Sometimes the truth is right in front of us, but we don't have time to face it, because if he accepts the truth, he will lose his reputation in the society. Due to this inhibition, we postpone the truth. But it is important to ask.
Every father would like to hear and know about this question. But even if you say yes, still your father will support you. Have you started doing drugs?
Remember, the fight to end addiction from society starts at your home first. Let's create a new India, a drug-free India.
I clearly remember. Just for 100 rupees, I had delivered that packet for the first time without thinking about anything. What could I do? I had not eaten anything for 3 days. By the time I came to know that the packet which I used to deliver for some money was used to conduct drugs business. Till then, I was trapped in this mug. But I came here from the village to achieve something, not to die on the streets. That's why I fought and won. I still deliver today and try that nobody like me stays hungry as far as possible, so that they do not have to deliver something wrong.
Let's create a new India, a drug-free India. every work in the name of the nation. For more information, call on the toll-free number.
Hi there viewers, welcome back to Health Essentials. If you've just tuned in, then let me just remind you that this is a program brought to you by DDK Meghalaya, and on this evening we are discussing a campaign that has been brought by the central government called the Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan, and the state government has pushed it. The Department of Social Welfare has sponsored this program, and on panel with me I have Neil Umbi, who's a singer-songwriter, and I have Barry Kharmalki also with me, and we have been talking to Barry at length. But before the break, I had told you guys and promised you guys to connect the link between these two men with two very different backgrounds, two different characters. Now, this is basically how it happened. As part of this, as part of the Nasha Mukt Bharat Abhiyan, we had we had organized a singing competition in the month of June, and June last year. And well, the theme of the competition was on drug addiction. So we had a number of entries. It was a short 7-day campaign. But knowing Shillong and knowing Meghalaya with all its talents, we had over 28 participants who had written full-fledged songs on drug addiction. Now, that just goes to show the kind of talent that we have in the state. And well, with the right push, with the right sense of direction, these kids can be steered off the wrong path and can be directed into something very productive for the society and for themselves as well, which is exactly what Neil has done. So, Neil Umbi became the winner of that competition. And it was a small campaign. The prize money was just 5,000 rupees. But when we chose the song, when we heard the song, I personally and the officers at the Department of Social Welfare felt that this song needed more push, which is why we decided to make a video for it. And we had produced the video, and the video is out on YouTube now. We're somewhere around, Neil, how many hits are we on right now, bro?
34,000.
We are at about 34,000 hits right now.
Yeah.
And well, the song basically talks about addiction. Neil will explain to you what it is. I just want to talk about how it happened. And so basically the department decided that this is something that we can do to help our youngsters by providing them a platform, be it music, be it sports, be it any other field. And which is why Neil, of all people, like we were lucky enough to have him back with us here because he was not in the country for some time, and he wrote the song. So Neil, just give me a gist of what inspired you to write the song and why the song.
So when I came across this competition about on the theme drug abuse, I started looking up on the internet about what are the challenges that a drug user faces and how he can overcome all that. When I started writing the song, I didn't want to be too direct because a lot of songs that are related to drugs and all are pretty direct. They go straight to the point. Like,
there's no sensitization basically.
Yeah. So don't do drugs.
Yeah.
Drugs will kill you.
Yeah.
So most people don't like to hear things which are direct like that. So I came across this story about a father and a son, like as a fictional story about a father and a son, where the son is battling addiction. He is trying to overcome addiction, but it's very difficult. So he called his dad to help him out, and the father came to his aid and started talking to him, and then he went into rehab. And so the father's words, you can say the father's words changed his life, because again our parents are the closest person to us, like Barry said earlier. So yeah, that's how the song came about.
Okay, and well, guess what? This will be the first time, right? The first time that Neil is going to be performing this song for you guys live. Okay, so all you DDK viewers out there, you're very, very lucky because the video is out, no doubt. Neil perform live in front of everybody. So Neil, take it away, please.
Sure. Thank you. Another dose won't be too bad for me. I'm on the edge of life, fighting my addictions no one could see. It's been a month that I hadn't touched that stuff. Now the urge to have just one more shot's taking over me, and I'm all a mess. So I called up my dad, said I can't go on like this. And Daddy said, son, you don't need this. You can find your happiness in other things. You don't need to get high to feel you're on top of the world. I know right now it don't make sense, but all this stuff won't even be of any help, 'cause loneliness is all it'll bring. Son, you can change your ways, find that place where you belong. It ain't the fire, the high, the buzz that makes you strong. You're made for more. We talked for a while on the phone and I told him everything. Said, Dad, I'm sorry, I never meant to be this way. Dad said, it's gonna be tough, but you're gonna get through it. Life's got temptations, but you'll have to fight them. Pills and pain ain't the answer to everything. You might not get this now, but we all get lost sometimes, and you'll find your way back. Son, you don't need this. You can find your happiness in other things. You don't need to get high to feel you're on top of the world. I know right now it don't make sense, but all this stuff won't even be of any help, 'cause loneliness is all it'll bring. Son, you can change your ways. You'll find that place where you belong. It ain't the fire, the high, the buzz that makes you strong. No, you're made for more. You're made for more. You're made for so much more than the scars on your hands could ever tell. You've got another chapter to open up, so don't forget. You've got a story to tell. You don't need all of this. You can find your happiness in other things. You don't need to get high to feel you're on top of the world. I know right now it don't make sense, but all this stuff won't even be of any help, 'cause loneliness is all it'll bring. Yes, you can change your ways. You'll find that place where you belong. It ain't the fire, the high, the buzz that makes you strong. No, it ain't the fire, the high, the buzz that makes you strong. You're made for more. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Neil. Thank you so much. That was the first time, I think, the first live performance of the song, yeah, and that came to you guys live on DDK Meghalaya. And of course, let me just brief you again that the song is up on YouTube, and please, we need your support. Please hit that like button on YouTube. It's on Neil's channel. Neil ka I kapten ko channel jo pi
Neil Umwi.
Neil Umwi, simple. So it's his name under Neil Umwi. Pindawad yaka video pinlam, and please hit the like button. We desperately need your help, because we need to encourage young artists and our youngsters to follow suit with their passion, so that, you know, at least it takes their mind away from addiction. And suaba bangin ya cakamat banyak kran bang bari aku aban su ong ru sa sintin yang aku aban kentoa kan kentin sin ru ba ngatip bun kin sakali kin so ong bale phim le da khasi. Why was the song not made in Khasi? Why was the song not sung in Khasi? Ngasuka ban pensai kata kadau kolong ba namar ba we are in Meghalaya. Meghalaya is a very educated state. In Meghalaya, people understand English, and the problem with addiction is ngimde tangki khasi ki bangap ha ka Jingbuaid. Ki bon ki we jat ban riu ki badon ha ka ni ka jala ka jungi ki ba em ha ka ni ka state ka jungi ki badon lang ha ka ju ka addiction. We do not want to leave anybody out. So when the decision came to choose the song and to make it in English, it was the decision of the ministry, including the people who were behind, who had pushed for the song. That being said, please go to Neil Umbi's page on YouTube, hit the like button. Your support will be much appreciated, and and I'm sure Neil will come up with way more better songs in the future as well. Neil, thank you so much for that. That was really beautiful, bro. Okay, coming back to Bari, and now again to something back onto the serious bit of the program. Bari, let's just talk a little bit about your work, please. Kakam ka fitri menta ke responsibilities don't
like I said, I'm basically involved with two community-based organizations. One is a community working for the upliftment and quality of bringing quality of life for people living with HIV, and also the other one is also more or less the same, but it deals with people who use drugs. We're dealing more with advocacy and sort of awareness that these two diseases are something that people shouldn't discriminate. The people who are struggling with addiction or HIV positive, who are HIV positive, shouldn't be discriminated or stigmatized. And
is there a problem with I mean, the problem is there, that I know, but just to clarify, how big of a problem is stigma and discrimination when it comes to people living with HIV and people with addiction?
More or less is the same, because our state is still in denial, I would say. I don't know how many of us as a state we would say that we have addiction and HIV pandemic here, but our state is still in denial. I think we need to focus on getting out of this denial so that we can help. And as far as stigma and discrimination, when it comes to pill HIV, stigma and discrimination happen most in health settings, because people know your status there.
Okay.
So these are the things we do. We try to do advocacy.
You mean health settings?
Yeah, we are discriminated most at health settings. In fact, when it comes to drug addiction or when it comes to people living HIV, yeah, I know you will look.
Yeah, I'm completely baffled.
They're the ones who should be understanding us, but they're the ones who we are discriminated. If you look at most of stigma and discrimination case, whether in our state or other state, most of stigma and discrimination happen in health settings.
So we're talking about hospitals, clinics. We're talking about nurses, doctors.
Yeah.
Is that a first-hand experience?
Yeah, first-hand experience. I remember when I was in hospital, nobody would come and take off the Venflon, where they were giving me some IV fluids and stuff. They were all scared, but luckily there was I still remember her. She's a meso nurse. Mesos, I think they've heard a lot of this in their state and they know how to deal with it. So she was the one who took out the Venflon. I was kept in isolation, I remember. And when it comes to stigma and discrimination, the one that I felt terrible and I felt badly the most, I think, was when my son was delivered in one renowned hospital in Shillong, whereby right from medical superintendent till the chowkidar know my wife is HIV positive, and though my son didn't have any virus or he is not HIV positive, but he was treated very badly. That's why my purpose of coming out to voice for the marginalized community is also not to get fame, but I have gone through a lot so much, and I don't know how far will these people tolerate if they are stigmatized or if they are discriminated.
Barry, what you just said is something so very, very deep and very painful, and you just brushed through it. I'm very sorry if I want to talk about it more. I hope you don't mind this, Tamba. So when you say, see, for those of you who don't know, both parents may be HIV positive, but it does not necessarily mean that the child can get HIV positive. If you take treatment at the right point of time during the pregnancy, you can safeguard your child from being HIV positive, which is exactly what Barry has done. Hospital, Barry. When you say your son was not treated right, what?
No, it takes time for them, to look into my wife. it takes time. When he was born, they just kept it in I don't know, that kind of a place where they weighed babies, and he was not given blankets and stuff, and I could see that he was turning purplish and all. Then they were started saying yo Jingpang Khamran and stuff like that. So it was very demotivating and disheartening for me. I remember going up to the nurse station and saying that, you know, I'm the culprit here. I was an addict, I do drugs, I do almost everything. My wife and my son had to do nothing with this. So please, if you want to curse, you please call me. You can curse me all you want, but please give them the right treatment. And this was based on the HIV status. But when it comes to addiction, what can I say? I've been harassed physically and verbally, been beaten up by almost everyone. You know, the sort of the trend we have now. Things are changing. But
public shaming,
public lynching, then you know, high-handedness, all these things are still there. So my work is to see that these things, that the right of a human is not breached upon. We have fundamental rights, no matter an addict or a pill HIV or no matter who it is. Everybody has rights, and when it comes to people who use drugs, when they go to hospital, you know, the kind, instead of getting counseling that we should get out of addiction, more or less it is moral counseling. We don't like moral counseling. You know, we know that we're at fault. We know that, you know, when a person goes with a stomach problem, I don't think the doctor will start asking you, don't start doing moral counseling. They just give him medicine and say they will all right. So you know, a lot of these things have happened in hospitals when it comes especially to people who use drugs. And when it comes with police, the thing here in our state is that bureaucrats, the top chiefs in everything, top doctors, top police, like the SP or some law, they all know about these laws. They all know that, you know, harassing a drug addict is not right. They know that the public shaming is not right. They know that beating up or you know, physically abusing a person living with drugs or using drugs is not right. But they know. But when it comes to the ground reality, these things are not known.
Like when it comes down the hierarchy, when it comes down the hierarchy in the system.
Any Tom, Dick and Harry can just pick up a drug addict and start beating. They caught you with a syringe. If they catch you with a syringe, you get beating, you get thrashed, you get taken to a police station. I often, what we do with advocacy is, you know, in simple terms, these syringes that we have, that we are using, the people who use drugs are using, these syringes are sanctioned by the government of India. So, you know,
why do they give the syringes, Barry?
See, when it comes to tackling the HIV epidemic, needle syringe program also is one of the, you know, ways in tackling HIV
of
epidemic.
Of course, because IDUs, injecting drug users, drugs inject, the risk of contracting HIV, of contracting hepatitis is very high.
During our times, we don't have needle syringe program, exchange program. We don't have HIV awareness. We don't have drug awareness. You know, we get caught, we get beaten. That's it. And you know, one syringe with 5-6 guys, sometimes 8 guys, one syringe. Maybe that's how I contracted HIV.
Barry, I'm sure you have had a lot of friends who were with you on this journey to addiction. Are those friends?
No, last man standing. 12 of us in a group, 11 passed away.
When was the last?
The last one was 2015.
That was some 6 years ago. You must have been close friends with him.
Yeah, people used to grow up telling about their childhood friends and all, where my childhood friends are all gone.
How do you handle it?
I've made new friends along the way. I've made friends that, you know, I know who would stand by me through thick and thin. I don't have a lot of friends, sort of, I'm a loner, but I do have friends who, you know, the thing. And basically, with this work that I'm doing, I don't have much time to socialize. Socialize is either walk, go home, you know, and come back, and you start thinking of what are the ways, you know, to sensitize people to see that a drug addict does not get discriminated by anyone. So these are the stuff that is daily going in my head, and also to ensure that people living with HIV have access to their medications, have access to treatment. So all those sort of things. Yeah. So
that keeps you busy. That keeps you running, and that has also kept you sober for the last 14 years. Yeah. Work, and a positive mindset. And also, just to tell you, Bari Tangba, he's also been bodybuilding for the last 4 years. So if you check out his page on Facebook, you will not believe, trust you me. But when I saw Barry, because the first time I met him, first time Barry was thin and lanky, right? That was when I first met him, and that was when we first became friends. He was thin and lanky, and he but then now, with a positive mindset, with with the right support, with the right when the system starts changing and starts evolving and starts following the path that it should, then people like Barry evolve, and what an inspiration.
Yeah, actually I went into the gym not to deal with me being thin or lanky. In fact, I went there to to clear my head, Ken.
Okay.
The problem, see, with people battling addiction, we only look at the physical aspect, but we fail to see into the mental and the spiritual the spiritual part. That's why many addicts relapse, because we only see the physical. So me going into the gym was not really to get a good body. Yeah, the side effect is I get built up now, but I was going through depression. I met a psychiatrist also who said that I have to be, lifelong on medications. But the medication that she was trying to prescribe was the same medication I used to abuse during my drug using days.
Oh, goodness
so I thought that
me.
I should find some other ways. Lots of guys have their, even you also must have other ways to cope with, depression and stuff. Some people may get high on music, some sports like football and stuff. So for me, working out is the solution.
I'm so sorry. Okay, depression is also something that has.
I suffer from depression these 14 years. Than when I was into drugs.
That time it was not there.
It was not so much
you
there.
became sober.
After all anxiety, depression, all this. 1 minute I'll be very happy, and the other minute, if you don't check yourself, you'll just be sad. You'll be sitting in the toilet and say, why the hell am I so sad like this? That's the kind of things. Mood swings.
Terrible mood swings. Terrible mood swings. Okay. That was one aspect I did not. I was not anticipating. But okay. So now again with depression, I see it as an after effect of addiction. So this is a lifelong battle. I mean, for addicts. So So I mean, what are the other complications, Barry, of addiction?
We have lost connection with the society, we have lost connection with family, so there's a lot of things that addiction hit on us.
Hits. And as I see it, that is why I think they say you're never completely over it, but you're always a recovering addict. Is that why?
That's why we never say we're recovered addicts. No. Like we talked this evening, a person might be 1 month clean. And I might be 14 years clean, but there's no difference between me and him, because he's just one fix away from his last high.
When you say fix, you mean
injecting? He's just one inject away from his last high, and I'm also just one inject away from his last high.
Barry, did you come in these 14 years of staying sober? When was the last time you thought you would?
2020, during the lockdown, I went through an episode of severe mood swings and the depression. And there were a lot of things happening in my life, sort of that I start thinking of using again. One more shot would be just okay to numb these feelings and stuff. The addict mentality always is here, so you need to be always alert and always aware. You should not give in to anything. In the head there's always the good wolf and the bad wolf. It depends which one you feed the more. So we have to be, as addicts, I think we have to be always be alert and aware.
Exactly the words that Neil wrote on his song. Just one dose away.
Another dose won't be too bad for me.
Another dose won't be too bad for me. That's exactly what Barry had gone through. But I'm so grateful, Barry, that you were mentally strong enough to have shoved those kind of thoughts aside, and that you came up strong on top. And I'm very sure that the lockdown must have been very, very difficult for a lot of people as well.
For a lot of people.
Okay. Well, we've come to the end of our discussion. I would like to thank both our panelists here. Neil, thank you so much for that beautiful song. Once again, for writing it, for inspiring us, for inspiring a lot of people. We have had a number of really good reviews on your page. I keep reading the comments, and it has all been very positive. For those who say that why didn't he do it in Khasi, please, we've already explained that, and we've already told you why. And Barry, you've been an inspiration to me personally. Right from day one, since the day I first met you, and till day, you are my living hero. You are that legend that I look up to.
Thank you.
And I pray to God that Barry, you keep on being the spearhead that you are for your campaign, and that you be the hero that you are for all those who are going through this addiction, who are facing this problem. Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for having come to the studios of DDK Meghalaya. All right, guys. Well, with that, our time is up. I really wanted to talk some more, as you know, with the background of radio and everything. I'm Andreas. Until next time, goodbye.